We have to go to a party tonight.
What?
Nobody knows that we are fun. We didn't party because we wanted to focus on school and get into good colleges.
And it worked.
But the irresponsible people who partied also got into those colleges.
I'm incredible at hand jobs, but I also got a 1560 on the SATs.
We haven't done anything. We haven't broken any rules.
Name one person whose life was so much better because they broke a couple of rules.
Picasso.
He broke art rules.
Rosa Parks.
Name another
Susan B. Anthony.
God damn it.
Booksmart is the directorial debut of Olivia Wilde, starring Caitlin Dever and Beanie Feldstein. It's a film I didn't know much about going into it, but heard some fairly fantastic acclaim from festival reviews at South by Southwest, as well as a ton of comparisons to the 2008 cult comedy Superbad. I was lucky enough to get to see the movie at an early screening via Odeon's Screen Unseen program, and it's been on my mind ever since. The movie, stripped down at its core, is a tale that's been told countless times before. It's similar to the coming-of-age films we've all grown up with, whether that's the John Hughes classic The Breakfast Club, the fairly underrated Haley Steinfeld-led The Age of 17, or, as previously mentioned, Superbad. I've personally always had a soft spot for these type of movies, as so many of them perfectly nail what it's like to grow up in the period they're set in and are instantly relatable to both old and young. There's exceptions to the rule, sure, but most end up finding their audience and becoming loved by many. Booksmart takes the genre and does something most recent coming-of-age films and, come to think of it, American comedies fail to do. Not only have a great script and performances, but brilliant filmmaking behind the camera. The only other movie that reminds me of this in any way and sticks to this formula is last year's Game Night, which had fantastic cinematography, filmmaking, a great score, editing and whatnot. So yeah, it's not something that happens very often. Looking into Olivia Wilde's filmography, she's previously directed a few shorts and a few music videos, and I can definitely see how that's inspired her with the direction the movie takes. There's an absolutely outstanding soundtrack played throughout the movie, whether that's the surprising choice of I've Seen Footage by Death Grips, the mesmerizing Cold War by Cassius Clay, or the incredibly popular Nobody Speak by DJ Shadow and Run the Jewels. I usually don't love it when a movie uses countless licensed songs to seem trendy and whatnot, but they all fit the tone of the movie perfectly. It's a playful, heartfelt, and frankly beautiful movie, which centers around the two leads, Amy and Molly, on their final day of high school. Deciding after constantly studying and excelling academically, they're going to finally break the rules, go to a party, and experience the fun side of high school they believe they missed out on. What ensues is a hilarious and touching story of friendship and love which isn't afraid to take risks. The movie's progressive, switching the standard guy likes girl but doesn't let her know plotline around, and having the openly out Amy have a crush on her female classmate Ryan. At no point in the movie does this feel forced or pandering, and it just plays as a romance plot, which works amazingly, because at the end of the day, love is love. There's been quite a few movies as of late which try to force certain messages and agendas down the throat of the viewer, and I was so relieved for it to feel honest instead of just an attempt to pander to this specific audience in hopes of additional tickets being sold. In the movie, it doesn't even feel like it needs to be brought up as it's so fluid and relevant, but I thought I'd mention it anyway as diversity and openness to the subject matter is important. I do have to say, the comparisons to Superbad make a lot of sense after watching the movie, and it seems like many other coming-of-age movies were also a huge influence to Wilde in the movie, such as Bo Burnham's recent debut, 8th Grade, and the aforementioned The Breakfast Club. But it carves a unique face in the genre. The cinematography was one of the biggest surprises of this movie, having fantastic one-take shots, including one that must have been about 3 to 4 minutes long, which was personally my favorite moment of the movie from a technical manner. I was always fixated to the screen due to the great work with the camera, so great job there, Jason McCormick. Add to that some fantastic lighting, a bunch of creative locations, and some great scenarios the main characters find themselves in, and it leads to a very visually pleasing movie. Once the story begins to set in motion, it deviates a great deal from previous movies mentioned and becomes its own beast entirely. There's a hilarious hold-up scene involving a pizza delivery guy, multiple lift rides which don't go according to plan, and a bunch more I really don't want to spoil. It's the type of film that I believe going into it as fresh as possible is the best outcome. Not like it has Avengers Endgame level of spoilers that can be spread or anything, but just more for the fact that seeing the story unfold for yourself is so much fun. In regard to the performances, both leads knock it out of the park and have this instant chemistry that can't be faked. From the first moment they are both on screen, there's inside jokes being told, there's a great rapport between the both of them, and it's just a pleasure to see them having fun together. It feels like they've been lifelong friends, and it really works in the grand scheme of the movie. Caitlin previously starred in the TV series Justified, but what I knew her from personally was her role in 2013's Short Term 12, one of my all-time favorite movies, and Beanie had previously starred in Greta Gerwig's Lady Bird, which is how most people, including myself, came to know of her. Beanie's character in this movie feels very reminiscent of Seth from Superbad, which is somewhat ironic considering that she's a sister of Jonah Hill in real life, which I found fairly amusing. Caitlin, on the other hand, has this vulnerability to her, while also being equally funny. The comedic timing of both leads are great. I've seen in multiple clips from the trailer, and it was just a joy to see these two share such a close connection and have it feel real. It didn't feel like a half-baked attempt at having two actresses force jokes upon the viewer, and I really appreciated that. Other performances include Jason Sudeikis as the principal of the high school, Will Forte as Amy's very emotional father, and Billy Lord as Gigi, a very interesting character whose next move is always unpredictable. Towards the final act of the movie, the tone switches to a more serious vibe, a feat I think it pulls off tremendously, with the setting being perfectly utilized in the correct ways, making it feel like a place you've come to know within seconds. It's also where I think the movie hits its stride and rolls with it completely. Everything that's come before culminates in both all and nothing Amy and Molly expected. It's where the film began to connect with me personally, and it's why it's been on my mind ever since. The film does have a few minor issues, however, primarily to do with some of the side characters and how they act, although these issues do rectify themselves towards the end, and we understand why those characters had been acting in those ways. The story does follow a fairly traditional narrative structure, and if you've seen a coming-of-age film before, you'll likely know when certain plot beats will come into play. I must admit, I'm a sucker for this genre, so some people may interpret my review as bias, as me ignoring the flaws others may have with the movie, but for what it is, what it sets out to be, I think it stands tall next to other coming-of-age films and exceeds what many of them are doing, whilst being original in its own way. If there's one thing this movie had that I just couldn't get enough of, it was heart. I might have said that already, but it just feels so personal, yet so relatable to everyone. The audience I was with had a blast with it. Some in their teens, some in their late 50s. It feels universally enjoyable, and if it gets the right promotional push it needs, I do have a feeling this could be a defining coming-of-age film of the 2010s. It touched me on such a personal level, and for the past few days I've been asking myself why. I feel like everybody's experienced some of the things that occur in this movie. I mean, the realization that you missed out on something most would consider integral, heartbreak, fighting with the people closest to you, feeling lost in the world that you live in. It succeeds in putting you in the shoes of these characters and taking the journey with them. It's one of a few films to get an emotional reaction out of me like this since last year's Hereditary, a film that's stuck with me for completely different reasons entirely. If we're not counting UK domestic releases, this film is this year's 8th grade and then some. They both have similar themes, and I don't think it's right to directly compare them to each other as they are going for completely different things. But I do feel like this film will end up with a huge cult fan base, and again, I just pray that it gets to reach its audience with the correct promotion. In a future video, I might touch on some of the more spoilery segments of the film, as there's a lot I would like to talk about, but I'd much rather have you get to experience the film as fresh as I had the opportunity to. Overall, Booksmart is fantastic. Again, it might seem like I have a bias towards the coming-of-age genre, but the filmmaking aspects it has makes it stand leagues above many of its peers. Fantastic performances from the lead, a captivating story, and some hilarious comedy makes Booksmart my personal favorite movie of the year so far. We've still got months to go, but if I'm being honest, I struggle to see this not being in my top 5 by the end of the year. I'd give it a 9 out of 10. Go see it. You won't regret it. Okay, so that was my second review. The last review I did was almost 2 years ago now, and it was another screen unseen early showing. I'm not sponsored by Odeon, I promise. Yeah, a lot's been going on. I've been working on music a lot. If this is your first introduction to the channel, then hi, I'm Corey or Leon. I'm a rapper, I guess, but I also love films. I've been wanting to revisit the whole movie review thing for quite a while now, and Booksmart is just, it's been on my mind since I saw the movie, and I just wanted to get something out there, and I thought Booksmart would be a great opportunity to do so, to like push myself to make a video or something. I just released an EP/mixtape/project called Adam. It's like a birthday present for my friend Adam. It's on Spotify. I'll leave some links in the description and whatnot. I've got an album coming out in the next few months called Love Songs and Carnage. A few singles are out for that so far, blah blah blah. I don't want to get too wrapped up in the whole music thing, but yeah, Booksmart. I absolutely loved this movie, and when it comes out, I think it's May 24th in America and 27th in the UK. Go see it, please. If it sounds appealing to you, if I've kind of sold you on the movie, hopefully, just go see it. It's great. If you like Superbad, you will love this movie. Again, there was a lot more I would have liked to say about the movie, specific scenes, shots. It's just, there's a lot that happens in the movie, should I say, that I just love, and I want to be able to talk about it with other people, but I can't because the film's not out yet. I may do another video or just like a little update at the end of a video when the movie's out, doing a bit more of a spoiler talk or something. But yeah, let me know what you guys think of this film and this review. Should I keep doing it? Should I just stop and stick to music? Let me know. All constructive criticism it's feedback. I'd much prefer to have feedback instead of people just blindly saying, yes, this was great. I took on board some of the criticism from my previous review. Hopefully it shows. Hopefully this is a better review than the Ritual review, which I'm still happy with, but some people weren't a massive fan of. Anyway, this has been going on for way too long. Have a fantastic day. See Booksmart if you're interested in it, and I'll see you guys on the next Angry Joe show. No, I'll see you guys on the next review. Bye.